Hey YouTube, it's Teenage Toolman. I hope you're all having a great day today. Today, I'm going to be making part 2 of building the Mandalorian Wrist Rocket. Because you guys smashed the like button on the last video, the answer to your question on whether or not we'll make a metal version is yes, we will. I started out by going into a 3D modeling software and modeling it out just to make sure that I had an idea on what I'm building. I started out by going to Home Depot and looking at the basic supplies to create this. So I bought all the supplies and I ended up buying a 1-inch cap. Just so you know, all of this is 1 inch. So I bought a black iron cap and then black pipe that's a foot long, and then a 90-degree elbow, then a 6-inch pipe, black pipe, and then a 90-degree elbow again, and then lastly a foot pipe that is, and all of this is 1 inch in diameter. And then I got a black iron reducer that went from 1 inch to 1/2 inch pipe, and then I got 2 flush bushings that reduced it from 1/2 inch to 1/4. The reason why I did 1/4 is because that is the diameter of the threads on my air compressor tube. Then I took my 1/4 inch air compressor tube and attached it onto a 1/4 inch black pipe, very tiny, and then some more flush bushings that put me up to a 1/2 inch valve. So I went from 1/2 inch to 3/8 to 1/4. If you can get a flush bushing that takes you from 1/2 inch to 1/4, that would work better, but for this it works fine. So then, since there's no pressure being put on this side, I thought I could use PVC. And since there's no pressure being put and it's just holding the rocket, it doesn't have to be that strong. So I'm using PVC, and this is a male adapter that takes me from 1/2 inch male to, it looks like a coupling on this side, but you can put 1/2 inch PVC in it. So you'll glue there, so then you can shoot rockets from this tube. And then we're going to glue everything and move to the next step. Now that we have the first one done, you're going to repeat this on the rest of the things. Before I move any farther though, I should tell you guys that our iron cap, do not put on until you move on to the next few steps, because I forgot to say this, but you're going to be drilling a hole in here, or you can buy something that has a tubeless tire valve or a tubed tire valve in here. But in order to feel pressure in this reservoir, you're not going to be, if you don't have a hole with like a way to put the pressure in, then it's going to be impossible to do it. So you don't want to glue this on until the very end, once you have the tubeless tire valve inside of your cap. Now that we have everything glued together, we're going to take some gloss and spray 2 coats on the outside and the inside of our pipe. The reason why we're spraying on the inside and the outside is because black pipe rusts, and you may be wondering why I'm not using galvanized steel. Do not use galvanized steel for any air compression project. It is not meant for that, but black pipe is, but it rusts. So we're just going to take gloss, spray the outside twice, and then since we didn't glue our end cap or that on, we're going to spray the inside to try to seal the insides of the pipe. We're going to also do this on this, and so we'll do the outside and inside of this, the outside of this, and the inside of this, and then all of this. While I was spraying the gloss on, I thought, instead of taking a metal cap and drilling into it and then taking a tire valve and pulling it up through, why don't I take a tire valve that goes to a male threaded adapter? As you can see, I have that right here, and this goes to a 1/8 inch male threaded adapter. And then I have a series of reducers that take me from 1 inch pipe to 1/2 inch, then 1/2 inch to 3/8, and lastly 3/8 to 1/8. The reason why I didn't go from an inch to an eighth is because when I went to the hardware store, they did not have that. So instead, I just bought a series of reducers to get me down to my 1/8 inch male threaded. So when I screw this in here and glue it all up, I can take this series of adapters and glue it on to my pipe, and voila, we have a spot where we can pump up our system or reservoir with a bike pump, so it's very portable and a lot more efficient than drilling a hole in metal. You may be wondering, why on earth am I going to carry 20 pounds of metal on my arm? Now, it's not that bad, and the other thing is I'm not actually going to do that. While I was modeling this thing in a 3D modeling software, I realized that instead of having this enormous amount of weight on my arm, why don't I get a tiny backpack and put my launcher inside the backpack, and then just take a flexible tube that's very strong, so for me that's air compressor tube, and then have that tube running out to my arm. So that's exactly what I did. I sized it up to this North Face backpack. As you can see, this will fit perfectly in here, and then I can just zip it shut and then put this tube out to my arm. And then in the last video, we used 3-inch pipe to mount it. We're going to do the same thing that we did before, except we'll be using some stronger things to hold it down that are actually meant to hold this stuff down rather than duct tape. My original plan on attaching my 1/2-inch pipe onto my 3-inch pipe was to take 1/2-inch plywood and create a U that wraps around this onto here. But I found out that I could take this. I've used this in so many projects, and it is a bike light, and it goes onto your bike handlebar, and then there's a light that you can take on and off up here. The only problem was my light died, so instead I'll be using this for putting this around the like the coupling piece on my 1/2-inch reducer. So wrap this around there, and then I can take my screw and put it in here and then tighten it up, and then my current plan is that I will either Gorilla Glue or hot glue. I think I'll Gorilla Glue in case this thing has a kick. I don't think it will, but then I'll glue it on here, and then since there's also a screw hole here, I can drill a hole in here and screw into here, and then add some glue to give it extra support. Now you can just go outside, attach your launch arm or launch tube in here, and then you can attach this end into your air compressor valve that is right here. Also, for a size comparison, this is the PVC version and that's the metal version. As you can see, that's a pretty big difference. 3, 2, 1. As you can see, I got this thing 70 yards. If we can get 15 likes on this video, I will convert this arm-mounted rocket launcher to an arm-mounted t-shirt launcher. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content just like this, like and subscribe.